So, is there a way by chance that they would allow, like, us normal users to be able to disable shorts entirely?
That would be a nice feature because lots of people use YouTube for more shorts, but that's aside. No, I'm not talking about shorts that you go in the summertime instead of pants. I'm talking about actual YouTube shorts. But hello everybody, welcome back to the episode of the iTunes Fan Podcast. As always, I'm Tate Macker from the iTunes Fanboy.
And my name is Alpha DeWolf. Freezing is, you-know-what, off in his room.
Alright, you have to keep the house cold, so...
It's 55 degrees in here right now.
Can't you...
In this room,
Can't
not
you just
outside.
put on a jacket? Like what I would do in that case?
I've got a space heater running right now.
Okay. Yeah, I guess, but, yeah, getting started for our first topic, on my second channel, which I haven't uploaded to since April 2024, yes, I haven't uploaded that since April 2024, that apparently now has 100 subscribers, which, I mean, thank you, even though I don't even upload that, and... I don't have any other plans for that, and I could make up a lot of excuses and say that I spend so much time now on my YouTube channel, on this podcast, that I don't really have time for a second channel. But that's not really the main reason. The main reason is just that I ran out of ideas because I've discovered that I'm not really a big guy. I'm not really that fond of vlogging, and so I've really just not found that much use out of my second channel, so
Yeah, I've been meaning to, in terms of vlogging, I've been meaning to upload or record a bunch of other videos because I've got all sorts of things I'm thinking about, and I just like having a conversation and sometimes making sure I'm not completely out of the world of sanity, and so I like to raise some discussion on the vlog channel. It's just as of right now, a lot of what's on my mind is a bunch of stuff that nobody wants to talk about because everybody loses. And then there's the other big thing, which I've brought up on this show a bunch of times. I've been thinking about building a house. So, which I am, this weekend actually, I am going to inquire about actually purchasing that land.
that is very, very exciting.
So, at some point, I don't want to make the video until... I kind of don't want to make the video until I actually have some plan set in stone where, yes, I am actually buying the land. Yes, I am actually getting the loan to build the house and such. But I don't know. There's so much that I want to talk about. It's just I either don't have the energy or the time. Especially right now, a lot of it is I just do not have the time because it's constant shoveling and keeping the stove going and plowing and making sure my car doesn't get stuck in its parking spot. I've been so preoccupied every afternoon after work. It's just, I'm exhausted. I want to make more vlogs. I want to make more content. It's just I am exhausted.
Yeah, and that's another reason why that's another reason why I want to take over the editing of the show is even after I no longer had to, is just because I don't technically work a full-time job and Alpha does, so I just feel it's fair. So I just feel it's more fair that I edit, and also because I can edit faster anyway. But
well, that's because I make sure I produce a quality show.
so do I now.
I'm not saying that you don't. I'm not saying you don't. It's just I really make sure that I spit out a quality product that people want to watch.
Well, it's not just that too, because I can generally what I do is I generally Generally, once I do an initial sync of the audio, then I generally don't find myself needing to do an audio sync up again. So most of editing this show is literally just me listening into the podcast. And often you have other web tabs open just to make sure that there's nothing. And if I see something that might be a hype clip or else anything I need to cut out, I just look and find it. But yeah, it's really all. Occasionally, I will change the camera view too if I need to show you something and I can't get that fully on the way I crop the videos. So sometimes I do recrop our video feeds, but otherwise I basically don't. I don't really do that. And sometimes I'll add like text on the video version to clarify something, but I don't really do that much on. I'm not saying I don't put any effort into editing podcast episodes, but I definitely do. I mean, I just do the bare minimum.
What is Center Stage doing? Just Center Stage has no idea how it wants to frame me right now.
That's another thing I try to fix in the podcast episodes, just making sure at Center Stage frames people properly. But yeah, there's lots of stuff to fix.
For your guys' information, the reason why I have it on is because if I don't have it on, let me turn it off so I can give you an example. Where's my mouse? Hello? There it is. It's on the other monitor for some stupid reason. So if I come here to camera, I'll turn Center Stage off. Actually, that's not that bad of an angle. Okay. Problem solved.
Yeah, I honestly prefer keeping Center Stage off too, because most of the time I prefer having a stable video feed that because oftentimes when I'm up in the cabinet, I mean, it would be handy to be able to be tracked at the same time. That's not that common, so I just don't have much of. I've just gotten used to this angle because I don't have Center Stage on my Mac, and my next Mac isn't going to be until, late next year, yeah.
I have no idea when my next one is. I mean, I've been debating kind of going back to the MacBook because I've been having so many thermal problems with the iMac.
I mean, you don't use your iMac for everything, but yeah, I can understand. I do. I totally. Yeah, I mean, the only reason why I plan on upgrading my MacBook in late 2027 is because this Mac will at that point be 4 years old, and so it'll be getting up there in terms of years, and I don't necessarily want to start having that many reliability issues with my computer. I want to have a computer that'll have me. It'll be easier to get a computer that'll have me set up throughout figuring out young adulthood, so that way I won't when I might not always be able to buy a computer like that. It'll just be. And also,
to be honest though, I don't think you might actually get one in a year and a half based off of what's been going on.
What do you mean?
I mean, this news, I don't think it's in our topics, but I heard, I just learned something about Apple's relationship with TSMC.
Oh, that is in our top.
That's
in our topics, but that's in our topics. So,
wait, I'm trying to find.
It's Apple fighting it with Nvidia for manufacturing space in TSMC. So you.
Oh yeah, that is okay. That is right there. But nonetheless, I don't know. I see price hikes going just sky high in general to the point where, I mean, you have the M3 Pro, right? M3 Pro. Honestly, I'm still using I'm using the iMac right now, but my M1 Pro MacBook Pro is just fine, and I do a lot more complex work with that than you do with yours.
Well, it's just that it's about rely. First of all, here's the thing about inflation. No matter what, you have to suck it up and get used to it because the prices are most likely not going to go back down.
But that's not inflation. That's not inflation. The price hikes are not due to inflation. It's due to supply and demand.
Well, still, price hikes, like, you just have to, because they're likely not going to go back down, you just have to suck it up sometimes. And also, I still rely on my Mac every day, so I mean, I still want to have a new Mac, especially with the new design. But also, I can't show you this because I'm recording this on my Mac, but this Mac is bad. I have very, very bad scratches on this Mac, so
it's another reason to go silver.
I'm going silver on my next one, by the way, so.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, yeah, the scratches are a cosmetic thing, but performance is. Even though you say this MacBook is like 5 years old, I'm talking about the M1 MacBook Air.
You need a new Mac, Alpha.
I don't. My MacBook Pro really is just fine. My complaints with it have nothing to do with age. It's all just lack of Face ID really is my biggest complaint with that. But performance never been an issue. All these years later, performance is still perfectly fine, even when I throw a heavy workload of multiple layers of 4K footage.
Alpha, I get it.
This is for my car reviews. Yeah. Well, I'm just giving the viewers an example of the load. I will edit videos for my car reviews. They will often include multiple layers of 4K footage with color corrections, audio adjustments, and that's... The MacBook Pro makes that simple. It makes it... It's as if it was brand new out of the box, the latest high-end hardware. That's how the performance still feels. I am in no rush for any performance upgrades from that. The reason why I got the iMac had nothing to do with performance. It was just because I wanted a desktop. I like the design of the iMac, and I wanted to give it a try. And unfortunately, I'm very disappointed that it keeps having some thermal problems.
I mean, yes. I get where you're coming from for performance, and I'm not having any performance issues with my Mac. But the problem is just I just don't want age-related things to. There's always age-related stuff that comes up with computers as they get older, and I just don't have the patience to deal with it. It's why I upgrade my phone every 3 years. It's why I upgrade my Apple. It's why my Apple Watch is upgrade every 3 years. It's why I upgrade my iPad every 2 to 3 years. It's why, and so I just do it. And so once I once I actually become an adult and have enough money to do so, I'm gonna get a new car every 2 years probably. So.
Okay, that is excessive. A new car every 2 years.
Well, think about it. If you get a new car every 2 years, you basically don't have to do any maintenance. Like, you don't have to get new tires or anything, or any of that stuff. So it's just, and you always are gonna be up to date. You're always good.
But you're losing so much
value.
value.
But you don't have to spend any money on repairs though. So you're not gonna be. And besides, besides, in case you don't know me, I am even less of a car repair enthusiast than you. I am.
No, I get that. I understand the frustration with car repairs outside of the cars that I own. I understand that, no, not everybody wants to work on a car. I don't most of the time either. I just do it because I'm so sick and tired of nobody else doing a good job. So I just have the philosophy, you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. And that's why I will work on my car. But I understand that not everyone has that philosophy. But it's just if you upgrade your car every 2 years, you're losing about the same amount of value as if you have an engine failure or a transmission failure.
Maybe not every 2 years, but definitely not. But definitely, like, I'm not.
The best you want to hold on to a car as long as it still has warranty.
Yeah, that's why I'm probably gonna do like a. I have plan. Also, my one thing I'm definitely gonna do is in order to recoup some of that much money, I'm gonna sell all my cars myself after I'm done with them. I'm not taking any dealers. I'm not taking any dealerships. What dealerships trade in?
No, yeah, you're always better off selling your car on like, well, maybe not marketplace specifically, but some online site, or just you're better off not trading it in, because dealers are there to make money and they want to be able to profit.
It's like
off
why
of
you
your
don't.
car,
It's the same reason why you don't trade in. It's the same reason why I hate it when people trade in their. I hate it when people trade in their phones to whatever carrier they are, or to Apple, because they do not, especially Apple. Apple is notorious for not giving enough money for iPhones.
Yeah, they have the worst trade-in values ever. I mean, I do it with AT&T because they give me basically 60-ish% discount on my next phone. And so it's like, how do you argue that?
It's much different though, but yeah, I mean, maybe not over 2 years, but yeah, it'll still be more, but that's beside the point. But moving on to other stuff in this topic before we go back up a couple of topics is most tech companies are having to convince other glass firms to make glass cloth used for chips due to Nvidia purchasing literally all of it.
Yeah, that's Nvidia is really driving me nuts right now, and they are especially driving me nuts right now because I hate that I know what they're doing, and yet at some point in a couple months I have to buy one of their GPUs. I don't have a choice.
Yeah, that's what's going on right now, but shall we move on? But the last little subtopic of this main topic is all of this combined is causing a possible 20 to 30% rise in chip costs.
Anybody surprised?
Shall we deliver our packages to Nvidia right now?
What's in the packages? Oh, those packages. Yeah, these packages. Sure thing.
Nvidia.
Should throw in Louis Rossman's as well. I'm sure Louis Rossman has quite the gift basket for Nvidia.
I wonder if Louis Rossman will actually do that.
I mean, he primarily focuses on right to repair, but he does have some consumer advocacy.
And obviously,
movements.
I mean, that's the whole reason why he's in right to repair. And obviously, chip costs are a big part of consumer advocacy.
Yeah. So, dude, until this bubble bursts, it is just a complete crap show.
Exactly, but shall I move on to the Idiot Award?
Yeah.
So,
I don't have any this time.
I think I have one, maybe two, but I have to double check these, but I'll show you made this. I saw the topic that you had. Okay, that's now
all of that.
All right,
yeah.
So let's go. Okay, now know exactly. Okay, so this is on my video of what is the oldest iPhone the AirPods Pro 2 connect to. If I get AirPods Pro 3, then I'll have to make an update guide of this. But this one guy commented, "Does AirPods connect to your cat?" I don't even know if I featured cats in that video, because most of my recent videos don't really usually have cats featured in them. But I don't remember all my videos by heart, so I'll have to check that. But I replied.
What the heck is
I
that
replied
supposed
no.
to mean?
I mean, maybe it's because of my profile picture, but which that's my grandmother's late cat for reference. So yeah, it's the only idiot award.
Why would you ask that? Why would you ask such a dumb question?
I don't know. I mean, my that's the only idiot award nominee I have for today. So
And I haven't uploaded in a while, so I don't have any idiot awards.
to be
myself.
fair, the idiot award on my list idiot award that was on a video I made I think in August 2023. And I remember that video specifically because I remember coming up with the idea for it, and I remember explicitly. This is the most irritating thing is that even my iPhone 3G, which I had downgraded to iPhone OS 2.0, where was my 3G? This thing, which has the butt crack now. I updated to iOS 4.2.1 because AirPods, in order for Bluetooth earbuds to even work with iOS, they have to be running at least iOS 4.2 because that was the version that introduced AirPlay. And so I had to update my 3G and 3GS to iOS 4 in order to make that video possible. And so consequently, well, I had to update them to later versions of iOS 4, but consequently, it took me, I think, even in my Apple Collection video that year, my iPhone 3G was not running iPhone OS 2.0 like usual, because it took me, I had lots of various failed attempts to do it, and because I was busy with schoolwork, I naturally kind of I eventually did get back down to iPhone OS 2, but it took a while. So I think in November I got that back, but yeah, I think the oldest iPhone I was able to get to connect to was in that video was the 3GS. Because it just kept going in a loop with the 3G, so which is far older than their advertised 6S. And the first generation AirPods even connect to first generation iPhones, but they'll only work as old school Bluetooth headsets. But
yep.
I think I'm just rambling at this point. So, Sean, speaking of vintage technology, I think our next topic goes perfectly with this.
Spigen's $40 classic LS case for iPhone 17 Pro. Why do you have Max in parentheses? Is it for the Max
It's for
only,
both,
or?
so I put Max in parentheses for that reason.
Oh. Supposedly it turns it into a vintage Mac.
So it's just a plastic case that looks like a vintage Mac, like this.
Aha. And let me guess, instead of a screen, it's the camera, the hideous camera plateau
it's just like
thing.
The color scheme, beige color scheme of that. So that's what it's doing. But I just got reminded about looking at the windows, which is that this is the first podcast episode where at the very beginning there was actually a little bit of light outside at my house. For our first time since probably October.
Yep, the days are getting longer.
I'm rambling at this point, but yeah, the iPhone, the classic LS case. I mean, I consider possibly buying that for my iPhone 17 Pro, but I just don't need a case right now, and so I don't know, and so I just feel like I have better things to spend $40 on.
Well, I mean, the 17 Pro does have some durability issues.
I have a case for my iPhone 17 Pro. I haven't needed this arc. Obviously, I have a case for my iPhone 17 Pro. This is the one iPhone that you have to have a case on.
Yeah, of course.
No, you don't want to have a naked iPhone 17 Pro. Or, from what I hear, you don't even want a naked iPhone Air.
Well, actually, I think you kind of do want a caseless iPhone Air because if you put a case on it, then what's the point? It brings it back to the thickness of a regular
Jason
phone.
T. Lewis from Painfully Honest, he actually had a big issue. I think he got a massive scratch on his iPhone Air when he reviewed his. So, yeah, no, that. But we all know iPhones are not durable these days, so, yeah, if you want a case that looks like a vintage Mac, I guess you can buy it. Apple doesn't have an iPhone 17 Pro, so yeah, I basically won't buy it, but, do you have anything more to say, or shall we move on to our next topic that's fascinating?
Let's move on to that next topic that's more fascinating.
So, PC sales have rose by 10% in 2025, and Apple, Asus, and Lenovo grew at above average rates.
That is bizarre.
I mean,
but I'm wondering if it's because people, now that they've learned about the Rampocalypse and that type of thing, I'm wondering if towards the end of 2025, people were buying new computers because of the inevitable price hikes that are coming to them.
that's exactly what I was thinking too. Because I mean, another possibility I was thinking is that people might be buying them for AI uses, or by AI I mean like data centers are buying them for AI uses. That's why I'm.
Yeah. No, consumers aren't buying PCs for AI BS.
They already have ChatGPT do it for them to process it in the data center.
So, I'm trying to think. How many YouTubers have had to say already that putting AI in the product name does not increase its value? In fact, at this point, I'd argue it actually only decreases the product's value because people are so fatigued by those two letters.
I don't know. It makes sense, but I mean, it's still cool PC sales rose, but yeah, this is just something very fascinating, but I don't know if we... Shall we move on to our next topic that's even more fascinating?
Oh no. It involves Microsoft.
Microsoft, the Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella had to literally beg users in a public statement to stop calling Office slop.
You know, I'm going to think about this real hard. How about no?
Okay, here's the problem. They decided to go ahead and make Office not only entirely Copilot based. Copilot doesn't even work correctly. It's of course associated with Microsoft, so it's not exactly stable. Oh, and it's a subscription on top of that. So yeah, it's slop, Microsoft. You can have your packages too if you want.
You know, it makes me wonder. I've uninstalled I finally figured it out. I've uninstalled Copilot from my PC. What happens if I open up Microsoft Word?
You're going to get prompts to install Copilot.
Document. Alright. Have a couple Microsoft accounts.
You actually have Microsoft Word?
Yeah, I do. I don't pay for it, though.
Phew.
So let's see. Yeah. Why would I pay for it?
I had to get Microsoft... When I was in 7th grade, my homeschooling program required that we have Microsoft Office, as it was very clearly based off of 2011 to 2012, that type of world. So consequently, luckily my mom still was able to get it for free for her job, so I was able to get Office, but yeah.
This is awesome. I'm not seeing any AI BS in this.
Just like how it should be. I mean...
Oh, yeah.
This is actually... Aaron from the Yellow Penguin, when he was on the show back in June or July 2022, he actually mentioned how when he was at his school, he he had to, even though he had a Mac at that point, M1 Mac Air at that point, he briefly had to subscribe to Microsoft Office.
I mean, the reason why I have it, well, I have it for my XPS for obvious reasons. And because I have it for that, it also allows me to have it on other computers. And so I have also installed Office on
You
the
pay
PC.
or who pays for it?
Not me. It's actually my grandpa.
Wow, he's lucky. Wow, you must have a really nice grandfather to pay for that.
So obviously he's PC enthusiast and all that, but he has the family plan thing, and so he loops my aunts, my mom, and myself in to the family plan on Microsoft 365. And so that's how I have Office.
I see, but yeah, Microsoft fix Office, make it not, make it maybe I don't know free, and then
I'd say maybe not free, but at least like one-time purchasable. Can we just get to that level first?
I mean, one time purchasable. I mean that's a decent valid point, but I mean, given that my Windows itself costs a ton of money, I mean,
we've got to start somewhere. We've got to start somewhere. If we just say free, Microsoft, no, we're not going to give this to you for free because we suck. So let's just start somewhere small. Let's take this one step at a time. Can we at least get it? One time feeable.
Yeah, that would be a very nice accomplishment in itself. I mean, even like maybe some of the higher end apps like Access and whatnot, like maybe some of those apps could warrant being paid, maybe, but I mean the basic apps like Word, PowerPoint, Excel, OneNote, like those should maybe Outlook, those should be free from the get go. I mean, the only reason why it's and then if you need to, the only reason why there should be any subscriptions related to Office is for cloud storage, and that should be its own subscription.
Yeah, I don't need. Oh, it drove me so nuts. So the company that I work for has this policy. We can't keep any of our stuff on the cloud. We have to keep it all in a local server. I was so mad when I found out Microsoft Office was backing up all of my documents, my Word documents, and my Excel spreadsheets to the cloud. Because we're not supposed to do that. And I thought I was saving them to a local folder on my computer. That's what I thought. I had no idea that OneDrive was backing literally everything up on my XPS. I had no idea. I never agreed to any terms of service that at least put in my face, hey, we're backing all of this stuff to our own server. No. I mean, I'm sure they have it buried in their terms of service somewhere, but they bury it so that way it's not obvious. Because again, let's be real here. Who reads the terms of service?
No one does.
So, yeah, if you're saving stuff on your PC, you might actually want to check where it's being saved, because you might think it's being saved in your documents folder, but it's not.
Yeah, that would be very. That would. Did you get in trouble for that?
No, because I wasn't aware of it, and when I brought it up to my boss, he was not aware that his computer was doing the exact same thing. So, luckily, we've all remedied that at this point. But no, neither of us were happy to see that.
Is your boss the
happening.
owner of that company, or is there like an is the?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. But you made it sound like there's like like somebody maybe higher up. So I was wondering. Well, okay, if it's only two people, then that's also a lot easier to deal with too.
I will let you know this. There's a grand total of 5 people at
Yeah.
the company right now, and that's it. It's a
I
small
mean,
business.
the biggest advantage of small business is that is that because everybody knows each other. As a result, it's going to be in the business for the most part. I mean, it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to work with mishaps.
And there's no company politics
There's
too, where you have to worry about someone coming after your job or your position.
There's also here's another benefit. No one's going to bother unionizing in a very small firm.
I despise.
Oh,
unions.
same. Like
I would never ever work.
neither would I. Like I'm trying. Like because I'm trying to go because I'm going to. Because my goal after I graduate high school is to start an electrician's apprentice and then eventually start my own small electrical contracting firm. As a result, everybody tries to tell me, oh, you should join a union. You know, they'll protect your health benefits and whatnot. And granted, at least the electricians' unions can't really go on strike. But the problem is that they still is like why is like you're still ultimately gonna have to deal with all sorts of union politics. And also, I mean, you're not gonna. And also, if you, these days, first of all, if you really need representation for your workers' rights, nowadays you can just get a lawyer. And number two, after my apprenticeship is done, I'm most likely going to be, and even then I can just find a really small firm to not have to worry about that, but even if that's possible. But even so, like after my apprenticeship is done, I'm going to be the owner anyway, so all the benefits of being in a union are virtually gone because I'll have even more than that as an owner.
So, I don't want to talk too much about them because that they can get controversial. Because we're talking about workers' rights or that type of thing, but I'll just leave it at that. I'm not a fan of unions, and I actually think they harm every business's ability to perform their best.
They were necessary when they had a purpose back in the day when they were first started here, but now they just don't. But that because of lawyers. But getting inside the point of that, shall we move on to our next topic, which is
absolutely. What's next? Oh, more
This
Copilot
is probably another
BS.
reason why your company has a policy where you can't back stuff up because of the NDA stuff. So, getting into it, Copilot can give hackers users' private data with a one-click exploit on a website with links, like a website Copilot URL that has a link to do a command, with links to automatically surrender the data.
Artificial intelligence, ladies and gentlemen.
Now I know why you're not supposed to back why you're not supposed to back stuff up to the cloud, but
oh, I wonder what's the current IQ of artificial intelligence, because right now it just looks so low.
all right,
It's probably a big fat 0, considering that it's not even real intelligence. So
you think that's dumb? How about our next topic?
more Copilot. Jeez, what's going on with Copilot?
So despite Microsoft Copilot's policy to not surrender data on the first attempt, it will give it on the second prompt. So to reword it, you can't ask Copilot for users' private data on the first query. You have to ask it twice before it will give it to you. I have a good analogy for this.
That doesn't even make sense. It's got that short term of a memory? Jeez.
Well, here's my perfect analogy for this, which is that, let's say a little kid asks his parent for some candy, and the parent says no because he said, no, you already had candy, kid. You don't need any, or you have plenty of sweets. You don't need candy. And then the kid asks him again, and the parent says, okay, sure. here you go. Here's your candy. Then, what's the little kid's gonna learn that he can basically get everything he wants? So, Copilot's guardrails are literally just there just to please regulators.
You call that guardrails?
They're fake.
That's not
They're fake
guardrails to
guardrails,
me.
I should say. They're there to make it look like they have guardrails, even though I think it's safe to say that's not a real guardrail.
I think they're holograms, if anything.
That's a valid point, but shall we move on to our next topic, which is actually very fascinating. Also very fascinating.
Sony. We haven't talked about Sony in a while.
So Sony is spinning off their TV business to TCL under Sony and Bravia branding. This is just what we need. TCL to take over even more of the TV market.
Yeah, I'm like, nobody asked for this. I mean, call me biased, but I prefer Samsung displays, so wasn't interested in buying either a Sony or TCL TV to begin with.
I mean, even so, this is first of all, this is going to give Sony's such a veteran in the TV space too, because they had the Trinitron, which Apple used Trinitron tubes in their monitors. That's how good the Trinitron was. Like, Sony used to be known for making some of the best TVs in the industry, and now they're just giving it all up to give even more market control to TCL. Like, TCL, I know at this point, has such a significant market share that TCL is beginning to enter antitrust territory.
I mean, the thing is, though, with TCL, too, the reason why they've got so much market share is their prices are just so brutally low compared to the competition. Yeah, that's the problem.
But also, TCL's TVs, I found, even though my mom has them because they're cheap, I found they're not necessarily the greatest quality.
I mean, they do lack quality in some areas, but, I mean, for non-tech enthusiasts, they don't notice that type of stuff. Because, I mean, build quality, the only time you notice build quality is when you set it up. Otherwise, you're never touching the TV. So what does that leave you? Speakers and the panel.
By quality, I'm not referring to the quality of the speakers and panel. I mean, that's not the main thing. I should have said reliability. That's because TCL.
That's a good point.
TCL TVs are not necessarily the most reliable.
I mean, I'm not entirely sure how much you can say the same with other TVs because we've had to replace our Samsung. We used to have a Samsung 55-inch curved TV, but we had to get rid of it within 1 year because it stopped responding to any remote we threw at it.
Okay, Samsung might be, but okay, so Samsung's TV. My family had a Samsung TV once, and it was back in 2013 or 2014. It was so unreliable. I mean, my mom got rid of it. So I mean, it's not. So I mean, Samsung TVs are probably the worst offenders in this case. But I mean, TCL TVs, they're not the best, but still sad to see that TCL is getting even more control of the market share. In short.
Yeah, and it's primarily because most of their buyers are non-tech savvy shoppers, and you think it's a TV. It's like, what does it need? Okay, nice panel and nice speakers, and I mean, I'll be real. The panel's not necessarily bad. It's nothing completely to write home about, but I mean, it's not a bad panel. And TVs, the built-in speakers, I mean, they're nothing to write home about, but that's the case with any flat-screen TV. And, like, most people buy sound bars anyway. They don't use the built-in speakers on the TV, unless you're my family and we're stupid cheap. But I digress. So, to most people, they think, oh, it's a decent quality panel. I'm not using the built-in speakers because all flat-screen TV speakers suck because they can't move air. But
I actually like TV.
But the price is reasonable, and the price.
I actually like
the,
TV.
and the
I
panel
actually
looks fine. So
So we have well, technically 3 TVs in my house and a fourth one at my mom's office in my mom's shed. But the main TV that we use in my mom's in our family room, that does not have a sound bar, and it sounds just fine in my opinion.
well, you're not an audiophile like I am.
Yeah,
so.
that is also another valid point. Although I'd
The way that I rate the speakers built into flat screens. I mean, I know that they don't sound that great compared to
CRTs.
a proper set of speakers, but oh yeah, dude, I don't miss the panel quality of our old 55-inch CRT TV, but I do miss the speaker setup in it, and that's because they could move air, and that made them sound so great. But I mean, if you don't care about sound quality like I do, and most of the time, movies aren't all about music. A lot of it is just dialogue. The music is not as pronounced, and so because of that, well, dialogue sounds okay on most speakers. Most people aren't that picky on listening to dialogue on any kind of speaker. They don't really care. If you get into music, however, that might start to change. But for the most part, the speakers on the back of a flat screen, the default speakers on the TV, they're fine for dialogue, but they're just too lacking. It's like there is so much more detail you could get out of the film you're watching if you just had a proper dedicated speaker system than what you get out of the basic speakers in your TV.
I mean, I totally get that, but I mean, it's kind of hard for most people to tell bad recording quality. Although my ears actually, although there was a band that I recently listened to that I swear does not have a proper recording setups, which kind of annoys me. I mean, which this is, I guess, going into this side tangent now. So, do you know the song "Wagon Wheel"? So
I do. Oh, do I know that song?
Darius
play it all the
Rucker's
time.
cover of it is very famous, right? Like that's a version that most people know, and
Mm-hmm.
so because
Yeah,
upon
that's the one
learning
I
that
know.
it was actually covered by the Old Crow Medicine Show back in that they released that song back in 2004 and wrote with Bob Dylan, I decided to listen to the original one, see how good that was, and I listened to it, and it was clear they did not have a proper recording setup because it sounded like it was recorded in the 1960s. Like it genuinely, like I don't know what there was going on for recording equipment or the acoustic in the room, but they just did not record it correctly. And then I listened to one of the band's other songs from 2018, mind you, 14 years later. So they obviously had the means to actually go out and get proper recording equipment, and it still sounded the same. So I'm like, well, why are they not recording their sound correctly? But that's just the vibe I got from listening to the Old Crow Medicine Show. But probably not everybody thinks that, but
So yeah, I mean, my TV setup, it is not going to be the built-in speakers. I am doing bare minimum at least 3.1 audio,
what's that?
where you get a center channel, a left channel, a right channel, and then a subwoofer.
Yeah, I can see the. I don't really I don't really care to watch movies and TV shows really that much. That much anymore. Really care about that, and most of the time I'm fine with just using my computer.
I mean, I don't either. It's just, I don't either. I mean, the Apple TV is plugged into one of my monitors, and the default speaker that I use is literally just the HomePod Mini. Granted, the HomePod Mini is a very good sounding speaker for its class. So, but even though I don't watch that much content, it's just I care too much about audio that I want it to sound good, no
Yeah,
matter
no,
the setting.
I get exact. No, I understand why exactly you're doing that, but that's just. But proper audio setups just aren't really for me most of the time, even though I am starting to tell the sound degradation on my AirPods a little bit, so I think I do need new AirPods, or should probably get some new AirPods, but that's aside the point. But shall we move on to our next topic that is probably going to be well, all of our topics are interesting, but this one is another interesting one.
Oh yeah, this one is very, very interesting.
So, the Taiwanese government issued an arrest warrant for OnePlus CEO Pete Lau due to illegally recruiting 70 employees from Taiwan, helping an illegal business run in Taiwan. So, basically, Pete Lau from China has been helping illegally recruit Taiwanese employees and help run illegal businesses. So, just as in... So, for reference, this is their equivalent of... This is going to be super controversial, but I think that this is the only analogy that I can give that actually makes sense, which is this is like the equivalent of drug dealers of massive drug cartels from Latin America bring in all their drugs usually through the ports on the Atlantic Ocean in the southern United States. Usually this is like them bringing in their drugs. Well, most of the time they're also made in China. But it's like China bringing all their illegal drugs up to Latin America and then to the United States. So that is what that is like, even though it's not technically, this doesn't deal with drugs.
And we wonder why we're not really all that impressed with OnePlus at the moment.
I mean, they changed the country they're based in too. And I'm like, this is a whole new low for OnePlus, illegally recruiting employees.
I can't tell you how much I miss the days of like the 6T and the 7 Pro.
The OnePlus used to actually be a promising company, which is why people like them, because they were designed for, okay, maybe you don't necessarily need to pay that much, but then even when they started hiking up their prices, they still made good phones, which is why people bought them. But now they're just another company.
But now they're now at the same price as a flagship, and
they're doing even less.
I mean, part of a lot of their core values back then was, we don't want flagship pricing, so we want it, I won't say budget tier, we'll say more mid-tier. We want mid-tier pricing, but flagship quality specs and a clean OS. No extra bloat added to Android. And that's what Oxygen OS was all about. And those were the 3 core values. We need mid-tier pricing, flagship specs, and a clean operating system. And that's gone now, because all of them, for one price, well, they're no longer mid-tier. I mean, I don't know where the Nord series is at these days, but their primary series, that's known for being the flagship killer, well, no longer is mid-tier pricing anymore. It is the same exact price as a flagship. I mean, it still technically does have flagship specs, but at this point, it's because the pricing is now up to flagship pricing. Well, now it's not impressive anymore. They're not. It's the same value as everybody else. And then the clean operating system is gone because they wanted to merge Oxygen OS with what's their other Oppo's Color OS. That's what it is. And Oppo's Color OS is the exact opposite approach to Oxygen OS, where it is not clean Android. So, yeah, literally everything about OnePlus that we loved back then, it's gone. It is like legit actually gone. And even though I give Samsung a lot of crap for, yes, they had flagship tier pricing, but my goodness, did they deliver on the value at the flagship tier price. And these days they don't. And I give Samsung so much crap for that, but OnePlus had a lot more to lose than Samsung.
Yeah, because Samsung makes so much stuff, first of all, and Samsung also, so even if Samsung's phone business doesn't do that well, they still have other things to fall. They still have other businesses to fall back on. But even so, Samsung's been making phones for since 1988. OnePlus has been making phones since 2014. So OnePlus, to get that kind of a stranglehold on the market that late in the game, mind you, that was impressive. That was impressive on its own, because Microsoft failed to get into the MP3 player market with the Zune just 4 years after the first iPod. No, 5 years after the first iPod came out. And
they failed to get into the smartphone market too.
Just they weren't that much later, but then OnePlus managed to get in 7 years after the first iPhone came out, and 8 and 6 after the first Android phone came out, and 5 after the first Samsung Android phone came out, and I can't remember when LG entered the Android phone space. Because LG used to actually matter.
I thought it was right around that time.
Yeah, LG actually used to matter in phones too. But they just stopped making good phones. So
yeah, I mean, I remember LG. A couple traits about LG was for the most part, they've never had a power button on the side. It was always on the back with the fingerprint reader.
Yeah, LG has always been no. LG was a veteran in the phone space too, and they made it for so many years in the smartphone game, but they just
we still have our old LG flip phone track phones, and yet I don't even think they make those anymore.
They don't make any phones now, but with Samsung and LG, it's partially because they're part of South Korea's Chaepol group of businesses, which are the big, powerful businesses where they're basically run by families that are getting increasingly corrupt. So that is what I feel the main reason why these South Korean companies are starting to fall down.
Yeah, but I mean, Samsung, LG, they were all established long before OnePlus came, and yet OnePlus came in what felt like out of nowhere, and just I'm not entirely sure of their adoption rate, but in terms of the community, they built such a strong one. And their phones were so easy. I mean, easy to recommend.
Yeah, the OnePlus flagship phones used to be like the iPhone 16e, honestly, except maybe even a little bit better.
Oh, definitely. I mean, they were basically the iPhone 16e in price, but they delivered full flagship specs.
And mind you, this is.
I mean, remember when Marques Brownlee used to swap between Google Pixel? He was so adamant about how he wanted to use Google Pixel as his primary Android phone, but because Google could not get their you-know-what together, he ended up bouncing back and forth between, no, not Google and Samsung, but Google and OnePlus.
Yeah, and I mean, OnePlus had and mind you, Samsung and LG were long-established phone brands before Apple came in. OnePlus not only got established years after Apple came in, but OnePlus also initially came out of India, which there's basically no tech giants that come out of that country, so that I imagine was even more of a struggle for them too.
Yeah, it is such a shame to have been in that period. Back when I was looking to get a smartphone at the time, I was really looking at the 6T. Even though it didn't have wireless charging, which is something that I really wanted, everything else about that phone was perfect. It just missed wireless charging. That was it. And I recall being so excited about that phone's existence compared to whatever the Samsung phone at the time was. It's been so long I can't keep track anymore. But no, OnePlus used to matter. In fact, come to think of it, going back down memory lane, the first tech video I've ever filmed in this room was a OnePlus video. Go look back on the Random Alpha Gadgets history. The first video I have ever made in this room was a video on the OnePlus 9 and 9 Pro.
That's right. I don't think I've ever watched that video, but because I didn't subscribe to you until right after you moved into your new room, but that's right.
That was back when OnePlus mattered. And now we almost never talk about them anymore.
They did that to themselves.
How do you fall off like that?
Such a young company too, but that's a. Shall I move on to our next topic? That is something that's also interesting.
It involves YouTube again.
So YouTube is now saying the Shorts feed time limit for accounts with parental controls it's offering that ability now. So I guess kids don't get too addicted to brain rot, that's pretty good, I guess. And then it's including the ability to disable Shorts entirely.
So, is there a way by chance that they would allow, like, us normal users to be able to disable Shorts entirely?
That would be a nice feature, because lots of people use YouTube for more than Shorts, but that's aside. And no, I'm not talking about the Shorts that you wear in the summertime instead of pants. I'm talking about the actual YouTube Shorts, but I would like the ability to disable Shorts entirely, but at the same time, I don't think YouTube parental controls are the right. I just don't. The one thing I don't like about screen time limits is that, and just little rules like that in general that parents make, is sometimes I feel that parents in general just get a little bit too strict on their kids. So that way when the first thing will go out they'll basically just go out and do all the little things that their parents wouldn't let them do, like watch way too much brain rot. And so I just feel that it's overall better to teach kids on their own why it's brain rot and why I shouldn't watch it, rather than just simply putting a hard limit. But
I do believe that is important, but the thing is, we're not always near them, and their kids are going to do what kids are going to do.
But at the same time, it's not the. But at the same time, though, if you're not going to be near. This I feel would be more helpful for littler kids, because. For littler kids, I should say, because I think it's supposed to target more little kids for obvious reasons, but the problem is that. I bring this up, but for little kids, most of the time, parents are either going to be with their kids, or else they should, in theory, be with other trusted adults, like grandparents or something. Or else they're going to be at school where they can't watch YouTube Shorts anyway, so.
I have a little sister. She came as a surprise to the family, but she's not even 10 years old yet. I'll let you guys know that much. And it is painful to watch the stuff that she watches on YouTube.
Yeah,
I swear, just a little over half of it is brain rot. And what sucks in this instance, we're a bit of an unusual family, but we're all homeschooled. Well, I'm not because I'm an adult now. I'm done with school. But both of my sisters are homeschooled. Despite that, my dad is working and my mom is working.
And your mom works as a teacher, mind you, too.
So that means, yes, that's true. But that goes to show how much she hates the current education system. She's not even putting her own child into it. So, but there is so she has way too much access to the TV, and a lot of it is because the only one to stop her right now, it's not mom, it's not dad, it's not me, it's my other sister. But she's focused doing her own schoolwork, and so she can't constantly monitor what my youngest sister is doing on the TV. And when I've come home or when I've come downstairs on the weekends to see what she's watching, it is just, there's an example I'll bring up is, have you heard of those videos where you have to, let's say, guess the country, but you have to guess based off of emoji signs or something like that, instead of like listing a bunch of traditions or facts about the country? No, it's just put these emojis together and name the country.
Oh, no.
There's no educational value in that. None. Nothing.
I mean, that's exactly right, because that honestly makes sense too. Because I mean, granted, I'm not going to say that I entirely watch educational content. Because I mean, you can learn stuff from my videos, but at the same time, a lot of the videos I watch, like especially videos I watch on like old iOS devices, like I'm not learning anything new from those videos most of the time, but I like to watch them. But a lot of people fail to realize is that parents fail to realize that screen time limits don't necessarily matter as much as what's on the screen.
So, but it's funny because the other day, this week actually, my mom was having a bit of a breakdown due to her students driving her absolutely crazy. And then my sister, out of the blue, she's Gen Alpha, obviously. She just says out of the blue, yeah, my generation is completely screwed. She even thinks her own generation is screwed.
I'm sure it won't be screwed forever, because I'm sure eventually these Gen Alpha kids are eventually going to grow up, and they'll eventually mature. So it's not like this is going to be a permanent issue that we're going to have, but it's still going to be a bit of an interesting thing nonetheless. Because I mean, it's like the instance of, would you rather have your kid watch videos, I don't know, maybe about how computers work, like that, obviously watching a little bit more of that. That's obviously going to be a little bit healthier than watching videos of 6-7.
But that's the thing. It's Gen Alpha, from what I've witnessed in my own comment section and from what my mom has told me, it's just basically from what I'm seeing, Gen Alpha has this problem where they don't give a crap. They just do not give a crap. There is no respect at all. And from what I'm seeing, at least, I mean, you and I, we have something we're passionate about. We're both passionate about tech.
Yeah.
Right? And then, I mean, to list off a few other passions I have I love electric vehicles. I love music. I'm very passionate about these things. And I'm sure Teddy could list off some other things he's passionate about too. That does not exist. From what I can tell, that straight up does not exist with the majority of Gen Alpha.
It doesn't exist. It doesn't necessarily exist that much of most of the with most generations though too, if you think about it, because most people generally just follow whatever's popular, and right now it's just that brain rot is the most popular thing. So obviously, most people are going to follow that.
I think that's a reasonable thing in a vacuum, but I mean, the majority of Gen C, I see so many people my age that are passionate about something. I see so many millennials that are passionate about something, even though a lot of millennials are becoming dads and getting in the workforce, but there's still things that they love. There's still dreams that they want to pursue. But as far as what I can tell with Gen Alpha, there are no dreams to pursue. There are no goals to achieve. There's legitimately nothing that they care about.
Well,
And I think the reason why this brain rot is popular is because the target audience is for a generation that does not give a crap.
I mean, that's really. I mean, you have to remember these are Gen Alpha. The oldest gen people in Generation Alpha are now 16. So, consequently, I mean, to be fair, you can argue the same thing for our generation. Like most people in our generation probably didn't care about that much stuff when we were younger too. When we were that younger too.
Honestly, no. I don't agree with that at all. Not from what I've seen growing up. I've seen you did have a small, I will say, there was a small set of people who never really found a passion for anything or never really cared about being involved with society. That's what I've noticed. But for those that I see out and about, no, there was something they legitimately cared about. I don't see that in Gen Alpha at all. Something is dramatically missing. Because those kids were not acting the same way. The group, at least with the group of people that I was exposed to at their age. I can tell something is missing.
That's a... Well, I mean, I suppose it's also different for me too, since I was born in 2008, so I have some classes with some Gen Alpha kids now, so my perception is going to be a little bit different than yours because you're a lot older than me. But I mean, another thing too that probably doesn't help in my case is I generally try to. I'm not saying I can entirely because that's impossible, but I generally try to avoid those that are completely obsessed with brain rot. That's
yeah, and I think that is kind of skewing your view.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're seeing like the oldest. You're seeing the oldest of Gen Alpha, and maybe the oldest they might get lucky enough. They might be, but the younger and younger that you go, the more this lack of caring becomes obvious. And at least from what I see in that generation, they do not give a crap about anything.
I mean,
they straight up don't care.
I mean, what I should also say is that even the classes that I have out of Gen Alpha kids, they're for reference, there were some Generation Alpha kids in my Algebra 2 class last semester. For reference, that was Honors Algebra 2. And the Gen Alpha kids that were in there were the kids that decided to double up on math their sophomore year. So obviously that class is going to have, I mean, I'm not saying that everybody who's good at schoolwork is smart. I'm not saying that at all, but it's just going to have, but obviously that also is more likely going to skew the perception of Gen Alpha. And then there's also a lot of Gen Alpha people in my AP Computer Science class, which...
I mean, when you think about it, too, I would assume those younger kids that... It's not that frequent. You see a lot of... How do I put this? Back when I went to public school, for example, I took an accelerated math course. But despite being in 8th grade, I was in algebra. I was not doing 8th grade math. I was doing algebra. So, but also in my same class, there was a 6th grader.
Oh, you told me about that genius 6th grader.
Yeah. But here's the thing. He's an exception.
Yeah.
Like, you don't typically see 6th graders in algebra. He's an exception. And so I think those younger Gen Alpha students you're seeing in your AP classes, they're an exception. Not the norm.
No, I totally agree. I mean, the reason why I do all honors is not because I like schoolwork. It's because I'm one of the youngest people in Gen Z, and so I'm literally right on the line. So consequently, they're definitely... And mind you, I should also point out that I'm also a year old. I was also born... I'm technically the age of a grade above me, too, so...
So, but, no, that's... I mean, from what I'm seeing, too... Gen Alpha's got a lot of challenges to overcome, and I think they're going to be set back so far behind. And what's more painful is, like, Gen Z has to deal with a lot of the BS that the boomers and Gen Xers had set up for them.
Oh yeah.
That's a lot of Gen Z's problem right now. We're dealing with the BS that the boomers and the older Gen Xers have set up for us. So it's not entirely Gen Z's fault, but a lot of Gen Alpha's struggles, from what I can tell, I think most of it's kind of ending up to be a little self-inflicted, because it's not on us to make them care. They have to care for themselves. And that's the thing, they don't.
This isn't to say that no one in Gen Alpha cares, because obviously that's a lie. I said no one in Gen Alpha cares, but...
I'm just saying the majority. I mean, we read our comment sections. I'm not saying every commenter in our comment section is Gen Alpha, but boy, does it feel like it. Some of the responses that we get. So. No, yeah, Gen Alpha. Word of advice from a Gen Zer or a Zoomer, if you want to call them that. You might want to start caring. You might think we're grumpy and all that, but no. You might want to start caring, because if you don't, well, you're gonna be in for a hell of a ride.
Yeah, because if you don't care, then good luck getting a job.
So nonetheless, that's my rant on Gen Alpha at this point.
Yeah,
it's kind of embarrassing because my stage name is Alpha, and they're not giving me a good name.
Oh, right. Maybe it's time to go to your real name.
It might be soon. It might.
Oh?
Maybe when I moved out.
How come when you move out? Like, why would that impact?
I need a big milestone to justify it.
I guess that makes sense. Okay, well, shall I move on to our next topic that is actually very good news?
All right. Where are we on the list? Oh, Bandcamp.
This is probably the best news. Some of the best news we'll cover.
What is it? Bandcamp stated that your typing thing is in the way. I can't see. Your cursor is highlighting. Oh, there it is. Bandcamp stated that music generated partially or entirely by AI is prohibited, and they are requesting users to report violations.
Users must report violations.
Even better.
I mean, the creative sector is supposed to be about real
Talking
humans
about
creating
somebody
this.
who cares. Somebody actually cares. I mean, I'm a musician, but I don't use Bandcamp because I haven't figured out all of the copyright logistics and all that. But boy, do I want to sign up for Bandcamp right now. Because just from reading that.
I understand.
They actually care. They actually care about the artist. Unlike somebody else that starts with S, ends with Spotify.
Yeah, I have a feeling I know exactly what you're talking about.
They actually care.
That's great news, but shall I move on to our next topic?
Oh yeah, I added this one because it is so stupid. I don't know if you've seen this on Twitter, but apparently it's in the news, I guess. You know how states have like a state bird and a state tree or that type of thing?
Yes.
Like, for example, Michigan's state tree is the white pine. Their state fish is the brook trout.
It's not the
state
bird?
bird is the robin. That's just for Michigan, for example.
Your state fish isn't the perch? But that's
Nope. Brook trout.
But the perch is the best fish to catch in Michigan's lake. Or walleye, too. That's what you actually want to catch when you go fishing in Michigan.
I never said that they had to make sense. In fact, here's one that especially doesn't make sense. So it's not. This isn't about Michigan, by the way. This is about Utah, actually.
Yeah, I get. Let's get more relevant. Yeah.
Yeah. So Utah decided that we need to have a state operating system. And get this, they even gave their reasoning what they chose as the state operating system. Despite that, iOS is the most predominant operating system in the US.
And in Utah.
Well, according to Utah, according to Utah, the official state operating system is Android.
I wonder how much Google paid Utah's government to do that.
Oh, I assure you, Google had nothing to do with this. Do you want to know what actually happened?
Please tell me.
A government official was so tired about all of his family members had iPhones, but he was such an Android enthusiast and he really wanted to spite the rest of his family for using iPhones. So he wasted Utah's tax dollars to ensure that the state would have an official operating system and that it would be Android just to spite his family. That is the actual story.
I mean, granted, because most of my family is liberal, I bought a Gulf of America shirt just to spite my relatives for that. But I'm not spending taxpayer money on that. I spent my own money on that. Or actually, it was my dad's money because he bought it.
These are the kind of douchebags you have in your government right now, Utah.
I take it that guy's probably not going to get reelected.
I hope you're... I mean, I'll just say... We all know California is a bit of a... you-know-what hole when it comes to government and politics. Utah is a bit of the same in their own right. Utah is a bit weird of a state in terms of their government. So, I'll say that it's like Florida has the Florida man. California's got the eco-friendly unapologists.
What's the Florida man?
And then... Oh, you can't tell me you haven't heard of the Florida man.
Is that like a news? Is that the Florida man is like that news thing with the? Are there all those news stories about what Florida men are up to? Like Florida man does this, Florida man
Yes.
does that.
Yes. And it's because Florida men commit the weirdest crimes. It's like, you look at the crime and like, yeah, obviously that's bad, but it's like committing the crime in this way. It's the methodology in which they commit the crime.
No, now I exactly know what Florida man is. Okay, now, I just need a little more clarification. But yeah, no, I got it now.
Yeah. So, yeah, California's got the Save the Planet unapologists. I like to call that, because that's where I find most of them, if I'm being honest. Then Florida has the Florida men, and Utah's got some weird people in their own right. Now, granted, I'm sure every state has their own weird people in their own right. Weird people are everywhere. It's just, Utah's got a bunch of them.
So does every state, but...
So, and this now state operating system government official just made himself famous in the book of Utah's weirdest people. So I thought I'd bring that up because it's just hilariously stupid.
This guy, I take it, is watching a lot of brain rot on his phone.
He must be. So, that's all I have to say on that.
Shall I move on to our next topic that's not stupid?
Yeah, this one is actually very interesting. We're moving on to EV content, by the way, so hopefully you're not leaving the show just yet. But Volvo just unveiled their new EX60.
With an export natively, so woohoo!
Oh, dude, the EX60 is so good.
I mean, it is an SUV, but
I've looked at
still,
a bunch of the specs.
So I'm not interested, but still.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that's a problem. But if you look at the spec sheet, they're advertising up to 112 kilowatt hour battery, which for a vehicle of that size, that's actually huge. 112 kilowatt hours in a compact crossover. Most compact crossovers barely even get above 90 kilowatt hours.
That is impressive.
So, big battery, big charging too, up to 370 kilowatts, 800 volt architecture, if I'm not mistaken. This is going to be Volvo's first 800 volt architecture vehicle. And I think they're supposed to move it to the EX90 at some point, if I'm not mistaken. But so far, it's being debuted in the EX60. A ridiculously quick charging time. Like it is actually an impressive vehicle. It's up there in terms of like BMW iX and Mercedes CLA levels of impressive. So I think this will do well for Volvo, given that America has this stupid obsession with bloated, oversized vehicles.
Oh,
so I think this vehicle will do
especially
well.
especially as Gen Alpha starts to drive.
Yep. Well, actually, I don't know. The rate of people wanting to drive keeps decreasing.
Actually, most Gen Alpha kids that probably want to drive are probably the exception to know that crossovers and SUVs are stupid. Because one thing I found among people of my generation that drive is most of the time people in my there's some exceptions mainly of girls, but most of the time people like the guys in my generation, at least the guys at my school, I should say, most of the time, if they're passionate like driving, they either drive big trucks or sedans. Sometimes they'll drive, or there's some, and a couple of guys drive Jeeps.
But again, it's Gen Alpha. They have to care first. They have to care to get their license first.
I think I know one Gen Alpha kid at my school that does drive. That I actually know a couple of Gen Alpha kids in my school that drive, but that's only two so far.
Yeah, and again, they're on the older side. So once the younger end of Gen Alpha gets up there, that's the problem. They have to care to learn to drive first, and so far they're not showing they're in a position to just yet. But again, I digress. We've already gotten off that side tangent, but no, from an architecture standpoint, I think the Volvo EX60 is very appealing, and I hope they put it into. They're still producing sedans. They're not popular, but they are still producing sedans for America.
Well, it's because they have to, it's because most foreign car companies do at least still produce some sedans from the U.S., but that's just because, I mean, they're foreign car makers. Other countries understand that smaller vehicles are necessary.
Yes. And even though they might not be as popular as the bloated alternative, I am grateful that they still bring sedans here to North America. But I would assume that this technology would end up in an ES90 or an ES60, or I don't remember all of Volvo's sedan models, but it'll be ES something, number attached to it.
I mean,
so that'll at least be something to be excited for.
The other problem with Volvo is that they're just not a popular brand in North America, because the only reasons that Volvo really sells well in North America or at least in the United States, are in the northeastern United States and then in Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, I won't say I don't see any Volvos here, because that's not
very
true.
few.
In fact, I actually know somebody who owns. I know somebody personally who owns an EX90. So the full electric Volvo EX90. I know somebody who owns one. I'm never going to be able to get it on camera because that person has no interest. So it's like, don't bother. But I know that car exists, and then I see mostly the older, like between 2000 2010 Volvo station wagons. But other than those couple, you really don't see any Volvos around.
I mean,
here.
yeah, same. The only cars, the majority of the cars that are generally in my area are Nissan. Nissan is very, very popular in my area. Nissans are pretty popular. Hondas and Toyotas are also just as popular, and then Fords are also really popular, and those are generally the four most common brands you're going to see on the road. And obviously, in my area and up in the Midwest, it's obviously GM. Up in your area, especially, I believe it's mostly GMs.
Well, no, not necessarily. I actually see more. I'll list them off in order. I see more Subarus. I think Subarus are the cars I see the most.
Huh.
Next in line is Toyota, and then you have Ford and GM.
I mean, I'm not saying that GM doesn't sell. The other car brands that sell in North America, obviously they exist in my area too, but the most common ones I just see are either, and usually if I see Fords, it's usually their trucks. The next common truck I see is either a GM or else a Ram.
I mean, there's basically only three options there's three primary options that people pick from, and it's either the F-150, the Silverado or Sierra, and the Ram. And that's it. Most people don't even consider the Tundra, and most people don't buy a Nissan truck.
You haven't even come down to my area yet, where those trucks are actually a little bit more common, but I also live in prime pickup truck country, so...
I mean, given our location, we got a ton of trucks here too. I'd say like maybe over half the vehicles up here are pickup trucks.
Yeah, definitely.
F-150s and Silverados mostly.
I mean, I would say 60% of the vehicles in my area are trucks.
I mean, granted, given the snow that we get up here, a lot of people want to own a truck so that way they can attach a plow to it.
Yeah, I would totally get...
Which is a complete foreign concept to you.
I didn't even ask Alpha about that when I first heard about it. I mean, when I have enough money for two vehicles, I do eventually want to get a mid-sized truck just to... Because you sometimes do need a truck to haul stuff like furniture and also to have a second vehicle, but there's a reason why it'll be mid-sized. Or smaller.
Yeah. Yeah, I still keep debating, do I do Canyon or Sierra, because because of my dad's Sierra, I just have such a soft spot for that truck. And I mean, I've driven the exact generation that I wanted. The 2016, well, actually, that particular one was an 18, but still same body style. But 2016 to 2018, that body style, in the correct color, blue. It was SLT. Did not have the 6.2 V8, which was what I'd prefer, but it was surprisingly easy to drive. I expected it to be a difficult, massive thing to move, because the only other big truck that I had driven, because even though my dad's truck is a 3/4 ton, trucks have grown so much that now you'd think that 3/4 ton truck that he owns is a half ton. Maybe not even a half ton. That's how much they've grown. But I was previously driving Talon's F-150, and that thing, I had such a difficult time moving that. In fact, my cousin parks her F-150 here in the driveway, and I actually had to move it so we could plow. And I just could not see out of that thing. It's all hood. You have no idea where the front is. You have no idea where the rear is. You have no idea where the other side of the truck is. But yet, when I sat in that Sierra and I drove it around, I felt pretty confident in knowing where the front of the truck was. The back, not so much, because those always vary in length. But then I knew where the front and the side of the truck was.
That makes perfect sense, because I mean, when I drove my dad's 2004 F-150, I could not stand driving that thing, because it was so hard to handle. Now, granted, it was a truck that's had many issues to the point where he's now selling it, but still wasn't the best at handling.
Yeah, I mean, you're never buying a truck for
No.
performance stuff, unless it's like performance towing, for example. But no, the only reason that you'd want performance in a truck is if you're actually going to use it for hauling and towing and actual work stuff. Not for going to get groceries or going on a Sunday drive.
Which, I mean, if I was going to get groceries, I mean, I don't know. I'd rather drive a sedan or a Tello truck.
Oh, I have so much excitement for the Tello. I have so much excitement for the
It
Tello.
claims to have full Toyota Tundra capabilities in the size of in terms of towing, at least in the size of Mini Cooper, which that alone is such a fascinating concept.
Yeah. No, they're targeting. They're trying their best to aim for half-ton specs, but there are some limitations to where they kind of can only target for mid-size pickup specs. But even then, because mid-size pickups are like currently the size of half-ton pickups from 20 years ago, the amount of performance that the Tello is packing into a size actually now smaller than a Mini Cooper. I'm not even joking. It used to be the same length it used to be the same size as a Mini Cooper, but Mini recently updated the Cooper and it is now 2 inches longer than the Tello. So, yeah, I have so much excitement for that. It's just I don't think I'm ready to pay new truck pricing. And I will say, I do believe that the price Tello is targeting is fair. It's just I don't think I want to pay new truck pricing right now. I think I'd rather go for the used market, and I don't know. There's something in me that just wants to have a Sierra. Just at least once.
Yeah, my dad's right now in the process of buying my dad's trying to get one of those Japanese K trucks right now to replace his F-150.
Should have him consider the Tello truck.
My dad's very allergic to the idea of new vehicles, and he's still a little bit allergic to the idea of EVs. So I don't think that's going to be happening.
Well, he wants a small truck. You really should try the Tello. I mean, granted, when you get your Model 3, I really hope his allergy for EVs goes away.
I mean, he's not completely allergic to the idea of EVs, but he just generally doesn't. He's mainly allergic to new vehicles, and also, wait a second, can you actually buy a Tello truck like right now? Because I thought it wasn't for sale yet.
You can pre-order right now.
Like my dad probably wants.
Their target is to have them out by the end of this year.
Yeah, because dad probably wants a truck that you can actually buy, like right now. So that's the main reason why I don't want to go Tello right now. Well, also because I only need one vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm thinking the ideal garage right now would be if I had a Model 3 and I would like to have a GMC Sierra for when the snow gets deep, because as much as I love sedans, there is one drawback to driving them up here, and it is a drawback I acknowledge. They're not great for deep snow conditions. So it would be good for in deep snow conditions when it snows a lot, which both you and I are really about to experience this weekend.
Yes, me too. I'm gonna put my cup.
He's gonna experience he's gonna basically experience a typical day in the UV.
It's gonna be 19 to 24 inches, possibly even 30 inches in my area. For reference, 6 inches.
Yeah, that's like a typical day here.
For reference, 6 inches is considered apocalypse level here, and that happens every few years. So we really have some. And so tomorrow night, as of recording this podcast episode, I'm going to. In fact, maybe in post I can put a picture of the snow. But yeah, I'm gonna put my cover on my car tomorrow night, so that way I don't have to deal with the snow getting all over my car's paint and windows. Because I'm likely not gonna be.
Oh, you don't have to worry about the snow doing anything to paint.
It would just get dirty. That's It'll just get really dirty. Like, that's what I'm trying to avoid.
Well, that's just what happens if you drive it. A car cover's not going to help you there.
Yeah, no, I know that, but I'm just trying not to. I also don't want to deal with like defrosting my car and everything, but I also just don't. I just don't want the snow to get on my main car, so that's why I'm putting the cover on. Besides, I'm not. Even though the roads are already salted in my area, I have a feeling that I'm probably not going to be going anywhere for at least a few days, possibly even a week after this big snow comes.
You guys have salt trucks that far south?
Yeah, we use salt. What are you talking about? Of course we use salt trucks. We use salt trucks every time it snows more than 1 or 2 inches. We use salt trucks. Yeah.
I'm just surprised because it's like you guys rarely have this type of weather. How often do they get used? Like once a year?
Once, sometimes twice. Yeah, we do. Granted, they're probably not quite as capable as yours, but yeah, we do have salt trucks because usually because of down here, because even when it does snow, it's usually still warm enough for the salt trucks to work. I mean, it'll still be for the salt to help melt the roads. I mean, it'll still work this time for the salt to help it. So consequently, yeah, we have salt. Oh yeah, we have salt trucks here.
Wow. Learn something new every day. I'm shocked. I really am. Although I am willing to bet those trucks probably don't have block heaters installed on them.
I highly doubt they do, but
Ours do, and for good reason. Because when it gets cold enough, those diesels ain't starting.
yeah. Shall I move on to our rumors, though?
The whole country's in a deep freeze. Yeah, let's move on to
starting
rumors.
off, our first stupid rumor is I'm just adding the upcoming snow is that the iPhone 18 Ultra or the iPhone 18 Fold, the folding one, that's rumored to feature possibility of Face ID that you can only use on the outer display, and then Touch ID just for the inner display.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Exactly! I'm glad you understand that. So, how about we move on to our next topic which is also stupid.
iPhone 20. Oh, we're already talking about the iPhone 20?
So the iPhone 20 is obviously rumored to get rid of the dynamic island, but if users want it, you'll be able to still enable it in software, which will change colors to match with the UI. But here's the problem with that, which should be obvious. The point of removing the dynamic island is not to have it there anymore, so we can have fully immersive content. So having dynamic island in software it's even stupider than AI. It's artificial intelligence. Which that's actually a great segue into our next topic, but I'll let Alpha talk about this one first.
I mean... Huh. I don't know where my phone is. Oh, it's right there. Alright, the room's finally warmed up. The space heater can really do its job as long as you're okay paying the electric bill.
I'm guessing you have to pay it.
Let's see. I've gotten... No. Because I'm not the only one who uses it, actually.
Oh, phew.
So, yeah, I mean, when your electricity is like 25 cents a kilowatt hour, that's expensive. So, yeah, now that I've had, shoot, it's not focusing. Kind of is now. Now that I'm actually using a phone with Dynamic Island for a while, I mean, I still don't like the pill hole. I'd still prefer a notch. That's just me. But I'm thinking back to when it was initially introduced with the iPhone 14. We thought it was about to be a total disaster on the front.
With the eye hole.
In terms of looks and aesthetics. Yeah. And I was so shocked to see what Apple did to turn a design atrocity and turn it into a feature. That was pretty impressive what they did. And I thought it was pretty
You
cute.
mean with this phone, the iPhone 14 Pro?
Was it totally necessary? Yeah. Yeah, was it totally necessary? Maybe not, but I thought it was cute. I thought it was pretty cool. And it's just, I appreciated it for what it was. I don't really use it as the feature itself for that much, if I'm being honest. But I don't know. It's kind of giving me some. It's like a little friend just letting you know something's going on. Like my AirPods have connected. It just feels like a little friend on the phone. But unlike AI, it's not intrusive.
Exactly. But now but to be honest, if we have the choice of neither, then that's in an ideal world. What would be the best?
Yeah, I can understand that because a lot of this stuff. We've lived in a world without Dynamic Island before, and I would still argue that it's not totally necessary. It's cool, it's neat for what it is, but is it totally necessary, make or break? No, not exactly.
No. But speaking of make or break, shall we move on to our next topic? That is definitely a make or break type of situation. More likely a break situation.
Oh dear, how did Sam Altman completely you-know-what us this time?
He's not, actually. So, OpenAI is expected to lose $14 billion in 2026. That's right. Probably because it's all stock fraud. And it could run out of money by 2027. I'm not even joking.
Oh, believe me. Believe me, they're going to find a way to make sure that does not happen. In order for that to actually happen, the bubble has to burst.
I mean, that is another problem, though.
If the bubble doesn't burst, if the bubble does not burst, then Nvidia, AMD, Intel, anybody else in the game, they're going to do what they can to keep that company alive.
Yeah.
Because if that company dies, think about it. OpenAI is basically the company synonymous with AI in general. First thing you think of when you think of AI, ChatGPT. Am I wrong?
No.
So, if OpenAI were to suddenly cease to exist, that bursts the bubble. That will get everyone to realize, hey, all the other AI BS that's going on with Nvidia and AMD, that was all BS. They're BSing us. They were frauding us out in the open. That's what would happen if OpenAI goes bankrupt. The bubble bursts.
And that's the big Yeah, because, OpenAI, let's face it, the reason why Sam Altman is building it based off of hype is because, let's face it, OpenAI, man, you think they would get so much business based off the hype, but they don't. But in reality, they're not making any money, and so, where's their money going?
Down the toilet.
Which, the last I checked, that's not good for investors, and there's a word for that. It's called stock fraud. There's two words, actually. It's called stock fraud.
Yeah. A lot of it right now is coming from, supposedly, Nvidia. Because Nvidia is the one pushing the AI the hardest, I'd argue. You can tell just by looking at the stock. Clearly Nvidia's got to be the one pushing it the most, outside of OpenAI. So, I don't know. It's just, if OpenAI were to suddenly cease to exist, that will burst the bubble. And I really wish that would happen sooner rather than later. But Nvidia is not going to let that happen because they care too much about greed and completely blanking over their users and consumers.
Exactly. But in other news, we're out of topics.
Can I add one to the list?
Please do.
All right. I have a Stardust update.
Oh!
And it is totally bizarre. I don't get why it's deciding to do this, but it's deciding to function normally for the past 3 weeks now, actually. It's been 3 weeks since the doors have decided to lock themselves.
Well, I think we know what we need to do. Come on, show up, show up, show. Yes! Yes! You got the balloons to show up.
The thing is, I wouldn't celebrate just yet because the thing is, I don't know why.
Yeah, that is the big problem.
I don't. Yeah. I only have one theory, and I don't even think it's that great. Was it this week or last week? I think it was last week. Last week, yeah. Last week, I was trying to get out of the house, get to work. Yeah, it was Friday. It was the day after we recorded the show. I was trying to get out of the house and start the car, but every time I push the button, it's like, key not detected, key not detected. There is no key in the car. Even though I felt for it in my pocket, the key was definitely, most certainly in the car. So, all right, key battery's dead. I've even tried like locking the doors, popping the trunk, that type of thing. No, key battery was dead as a doornail. So I used the cheat that I'm aware of to get the car to start if your key battery's dead. You open up the center console. There's a specific spot. There's a very specific spot you have to place your key fob up against. It's somewhere in the center console. And as long as you can get that key in that spot, only then can you start the car with the dead key. So that's how I got to work that morning. And once again, I shut the car off. And when you shut the car off, if it doesn't detect the key, it actually, strangely enough, turns it into accessory mode instead of just turning the car off. I don't know why it does that, but it does. And when I turn the car off, it's like, no key detected. There is no key in this car. So, yeah, that confirmed that my battery was basically dead. The key just did nothing, so... I locked the doors with my phone because I can do that. And changed the battery at the office because the office has a bunch of batteries that most of the time they just sit. So I swapped the battery in the key. And that was the latest event, at least, that occurred. But, I mean, the weeks leading up to it, the past week before leading up to it, the doors never tried locking themselves. The week after, it's just... I don't know. I personally didn't think it was the key because the problem existed with the other key to the vehicle. Whenever I drop the car off, I give them the spare key because I don't want to take my key off my key ring. That's an involved process. And I need my keys for getting into the office, and I have my flash drive with my organ presets on it, so I still need my keys. So I just give them the spare key when I drop the car off. And they still have had the issue happen with the spare key. But as far as I know, the only thing I changed was the battery in my key. And all of a sudden, we're not constantly trying to lock the car when I put the car in drive. It's bizarre.
Maybe this will just be a mystery for the ages.
Maybe. I mean, it's going to have about 4, maybe 5 hours tomorrow of constant driving to go off. Because I'm going out of town this weekend. Oh, yeah, and Stardust now has over 80,000 miles on the odometer.
That's not that far off of my car.
So, How many are on your car?
Over 100,000 at this point.
Ah, so to me, a car officially becomes old once it passes 100,000 miles. So give me about a year and a half, and my car will officially be old. Although I don't know if I'm going to have it for a year and a half because I'm hoping that once I get paid off, I'll be able to get the Tesla.
Yes, yeah, that's what I was thinking too when you mentioned that.
I would love to have a Model 3 right now. So much. Even though we have the most expensive electric rates in the nation and we have a crap ton of snow, which makes it hard to drive because your car is basically a sled. And again, if I have my own house, I make my own rules about what plugs into the outlets. So I will be able to charge the car at the house. That's true. So that for the longest time, one of the biggest things holding me back from just selling Stardust, and I mean, the fact that I'm still paying the car off, which I'm getting close. The car is going to be paid off this year. It's going to happen. It's going to be paid off this year. The only other thing keep holding me back aside from that was I'd have to charge at the DC charger. Which is a problem because, well, it's not a problem in the summer, it's a problem in the winter. Because it's not a supercharger, I can't precondition the battery. I can't get it to warm up to go to that charging station. So that means when I plug in at the charge point station, the battery's going to be rock cold, just freezing cold, frozen, and it's not going to want to charge. And so a lot of the energy it's going to take from the charger is actually just to warm the battery up before it even starts charging. And so that's like, can it be done? Yes. Is it time consuming? Also yes. And even then, the charger's like 100... No, it's a 400-volt car, so the most I'm going to get is 80 kilowatts anyways. So... And I need a CCS adapter because there's no NAC stations around here. The closest NAC station is 100 miles from here. Although, I'm curious. Has that supercharger voting poll ended yet? Because Houghton, last I checked, is still in the top in the U.S. for getting a supercharger. Let's see. Let's go to North America. Oh my goodness, we're in second place for North America.
What's first?
First is Lac Jacques Cartier, Quebec.
Quebec, yeah, I'm gonna take that's in rural Quebec.
I don't know where in Quebec that is. But yeah, we're second place in North America. That's exciting. Because we've needed one of these for so long. What else do I see? Manistique's high up there too. Newberry.
Where's Newberry?
What place is Newberry in? Newberry is towards the east in the UP. Newberry is number 9. Huh. That's interesting. Manistique's number 7. Lot of cities in the UP. If you can call them cities. But yeah, Manistique, Munising just recently won one of the polls last time around. So Munising's getting one. Newberry is high in the polls. Manistique's high in the polls, and up here in Houghton, we're topping them for the entire country. So yeah, that's exciting. There's actual voting going on for the UP, which we need the infrastructure because it's so freaking cold here.
Yeah, there's no such thing as infrastructure in the UP.
And what we have right now, aside from the current, there are 3 superchargers in the UP. There's one in Marquette, there's one in Escanaba, and there's one in Sault Ste. Marie. But that's it. If you want to go from, say, the Mackinac Bridge and head west, you better hope you actually make it in the wintertime. In the summer, it's relatively easy. You got a deep charge, but it's relatively easy. The winter is where it becomes hard because the roads become slippery, which means the car is driving less efficient. You're running the heater in the car, obviously, because it's freezing cold. So it's just, the car is using a lot more energy in the winter. And so doing those stretches from the Mackinac Bridge to either Escanaba or Marquette, that's a challenge. That's a challenge to do in the winter. And you really got a deep charge to do it. So it is good that we're finally seeing some more infrastructure grow. Munising is a very good location because Munising is basically the midway point from Houghton to the bridge. So that's a very good spot.
Munising, let me see where Munising is. Oh yeah, I see where it is, yeah.
Yep. It's a very solid midway point from here in Houghton to the bridge, the Mackinac Bridge. So that's a good spot. That was recently awarded site, so I guess Tesla's going to build something there at some point. And then I am very surprised to see that Newberry is not really much of a... I don't even think you can consider Newberry a town. It is so small. It is so barren. There's not really that many people that live there. And yet they're putting a supercharger there. Well, at least people want a supercharger there. That hasn't officially won a spot yet. But I mean, that particular stretch, anything between the Mackinac Bridge, Sault Ste. Marie, and Munising, anything between there, it's like a very small village at best. So if anything gets put in there, do not expect any amenities at all. But no, it's exciting to see that people finally want charging infrastructure up here in the UP because it is difficult to get around here in an electric car. And all the other chargers that are non-Tesla, well, NLX is gone, so all the NLX chargers basically don't work now. And then the rest are just charge point. I mean, we got a couple free wires too, but those free wires I hear... Actually, yeah, come to think of it, free wire's out of business. So if those chargers go down in Marquette and Sault Ste. Marie and Escanaba, which I'm willing to bet they already have...
Well, they're also the same points where NACS chargers are anyway.
They're never coming back online. That's true, but there are still some cars out there that can't charge on those chargers.
That's valid.
So, but no, the FreeWire stuff. Yeah, once those are broken, which I'm willing to bet they already are, they're never going to get serviced because FreeWire as a company is dead, bankrupt. They're not coming back. So, yeah, the charging landscape up here was pretty grim, and I can understand why the entire UP in general is fairly conservative, so that means they're not particularly excited about EVs. Marquette's really the only exception, if I'm being honest. But our lack of infrastructure for charging electric vehicles up here really only emphasizes the EV skeptics point. It just makes it difficult to drive electric around here. So I'm glad to see that we got infrastructure finally coming here. So. But, yeah, I just keep thinking about, I really got to open up SolidWorks on my XPS and actually start designing the house itself. Because I don't want to go too big because it's going to be costly. But bare minimum, I'm trying to think of all the things that I want a dual car garage because I see myself both owning a car and a truck, a sedan and a truck. And I am so tired. I am just exhausted of constantly having to unbury my car every single morning to go to work. It just gets old.
Same. Like my mom complains about how people don't really like to use garages because they're tedious to put your car into. But when I grow up and get a garage of my own, I will put my car in a garage every day.
Yeah, it's not that big of a problem during the summer. I mean, it's annoying when it rains, but it's really not that big of a problem in the summer. The problem is in the winter when it snows a ton, especially for up here, and you're constantly digging your car out of its parking spot and scraping ice off the windshield. You burn through windshield wipers a lot faster too because they keep getting frozen to the windshield. It's just it gets old real quick.
I understand.
So I want a garage. I want a garage that can park at least 2 vehicles, a truck and a sedan. The garage will have 2 wall connectors wired up for each bay. So that way I can charge. If I have both an electric car and an electric truck, they both can be plugged in at the same time. So there will be 2 wall connectors for that. The living room will be simple. The only thing to note will be a 75-inch TV with a 3.1 audio setup. The kitchen is going to be full electric appliances. In fact, that's going to be a common theme around the house. It's all electric appliances except for heating, because electric heating just does not make sense with the price that electricity costs up here. I am debating, because I know how good heat pump technology has gotten, I am debating installing a heat pump on the house.
I mean, that would be worth it because it would still be able to be a good supplement, and besides, that would probably really help in your summer and your springs and falls.
It would allow me to not burn natural gas, not be for environmental reasons. I mean, the big question is cost. What's the cost difference between heating with natural gas and heating with electricity? Because again, it's 24 cents a kilowatt hour up here. That's actually on the expensive end compared to, I mean, I don't know your guys' electric rate, but I'd assume it's not going to be near what ours is. Our electric rates are expensive, and so that means heating with electric is expensive. So I'm kind of curious to see what would happen if I did use a heat pump setup. Yes. Yeah, and the reason why our electric rates are higher is because we're not even getting it from the state of Michigan. We're getting it from Wisconsin. So, and the AI data centers are going to be so helpful in keeping those prices low.
Please tell me they're not putting AI data centers in the UP.
I mean, despite that power may be expensive, we are surrounded by a lot of water.
And of course, oh no.
And our governor is a complete I'm trying to think of a nice way to say this. I really don't want to mark this show as explicit.
We know what you're saying. At least I do.
I'll put it as this. Let's just say we give her the nickname. She's the wicked bumblebee with an itch of the Midwest. I didn't say a bad word. I just said it's a bumblebee with
Just
an
say
itch.
it's the Wicked Witch of the Midwest.
Of the Midwest.
Or the other word.
So, no, I would not be shocked if someone decided, oh, let's put AI data centers up here because we have so much access to fresh water. And, I mean, I don't know. I just hope it doesn't happen. But that aside, no, yeah, all electric appliances. Kitchen will be fairly small, although even though it's very uncommon and I can understand why it requires more space, I don't know why, but I love the aesthetic of a separated oven and stove.
I don't, but that's just me, but
Yeah, I love the aesthetic of a separated oven and stove. I don't know why, I just do. So that's how I'm gonna do it. Because again, it's I'm building the house, so I'm in full control. But that's one thing to note. That'll be on the main floor. In the basement, luckily I have some. You might think this might sound crazy, but in the basement there's going to be an organ,
that's not crazy.
and you might think it sounds crazy. The reason why is because, I mean, do you have any idea how much organs cost? They're not cheap. They cost multiple thousands of dollars, and it's for a reason. But when you happen to be an organist in the area and you have how many offers of, hey, do you want a free organ? So, yeah, there's most likely going to end up having an organ in the basement. And I'm going to acoustically treat the basement so that way I can record music in there. But also that's where I'm going to have a dedicated YouTube studio where it's all YouTube recording content in one section of the basement, and that's it. It's not sharing a space with anything else. It's purely designed for recording.
Well,
And because of that, it'll allow me to acoustically treat the room. I can focus on having an aesthetic space and keeping it aesthetic.
there will be no
Because you guys
there
know
will be
I'm a
no
slob.
natural there will be no natural light though.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Not every basement has to be completely underground.
Oh, right, because you live in a hilly area. Okay, yeah, no, that makes perfect sense now.
So, yep. So, there's that. This might drive you nuts, but most of the floors are going to be carpeted except the kitchen and the restrooms.
Well, at least it's not as bad as your old label maker.
Yeah. And then the upstairs, I kind of like a loft that overlooks the living room / dining room area. They'll be in the bit of the same space. And then just up there, it's just bedrooms and a few bathrooms. That's it. There's nothing too special about the upstairs. So that's what I'm thinking of right now. I really need to put it in CAD so it can be properly visualized. But hopefully the costs aren't too high. The good news is mortgage rates are falling. There's actually good news in the housing sector. The mortgage rates are falling.
That is very nice, but in other words, we are also out of time.
What time is it?
7:58 p.m. Central.
8:58. So, that's perfect time because it's now I'm realizing I need to put my clothes in the dryer if I want to have clothes for the weekend. So
That's a good idea plan. So, as always, thank you. As always, thank you all for tuning into another episode of iTunes Fan Podcast. As always, I'm Teddy Macker from the iTunes Fanboy.
And my name is Alpha to Wolf.
And as always, we're saying peace out for now, and we hope you all enjoy. Have a very great day, and we'll see you all in the next episode. Take care, everyone.